Vayetzei Yaakov, Parashat Vayetzei. Parasha talks about a million different things. And I want to concentrate on very few topics, maybe one idea on the parasha. You just have to excuse my voice because I'm a little bit under the blanket. I mean, under the weather, yes. Yeah, water is always good. And this lecture, this shiur, is in merit and for the merit of Rachel Chaya Bat Sarah, our dear sister who had supported us tremendously, and we greatly appreciate her and her kindness. Vayetzei Yaakov vayelech Harana. And Yaakov went out. And where did he go? Vayetzei Yaakov mi Be'er Sheva, from Be'er Sheva. Vayelech, and he went to Haran. We have to pay attention. That might get a little technical in terms of Hebrew, but let's pay attention over here. Yaakov goes to his journey, and he goes to Haran, being escorted with angels, and those promises of the land and his generations after him, and so on and so forth. In the house of Lavan, Yaakov established his future home. He settles down there. That's where his children are born. That's where the 12 tribes of Israel were born. And the Torah emphasizes the departure of Yaakov from the place called Be'er Sheva. Sheva, not only 7, also Leshon Shvuah. Shvuah means a promise, a covenant, a swear. And also the Leshon of Sova, fulfillment, contentment, abundance. And he goes from the house of his parents, his mother and father, that they were the source of Sova, Be'er. They were the Be'er, they were the well of contentment and thank you, and all good things that come to the world. They were the source. They were the well. And it goes to a place that is not so good. And the place that he's going to is called Haran. Haran reminds us of the word Charon Af. Charon Af means anger. In other words, whatever is happening over there in Haran, God does not really like. So we're going for a place of, let's say, for example, place of purity, and place that the world, it's like the pillar of the world, to kind of a shady place. Maybe like going from a Bet Medrash to a carnival in Rio. Now, that place is a place of difficulty. It's difficult there. And that dealing with difficulty is basically what he's doing, and for us, teaches us a great level of how Yaakov Avinu went, and it's very applicable to all of you. How he went from a place of Olam Ruchani, the ideal world, and that's what I keep telling you all the time. According to the Rambam, based on what the Gemara says, En beimot HaMashiach Leyamenu, the only difference between the Messianic era and our times is Shiabud Malchuyot, is the oppressions of the nations of the Jews and the preoccupation of the Jews with many other things. And the only purpose of Mashiach time is Shiyu Israel Chofshiim, that they should be free to learn Torah. So, to you buzzards who sit here in Yeshiva and learn Torah, every time you come to Yeshiva and you learn Torah, you are experiencing the Messianic time, Yemot HaMashiach. The place that Yaakov Avinu was by his parents. And every time you walk out, it's not really walking out, it's walking down from the ideal spiritual world, as we said, Ish Yoshev Ohalim, Ish Tam Yoshev Ohalim. Ohel, a tent, as we know many times from Gzera Shava, will be Ohala Shel Torah. So going down from a spiritual, ideal world of learning Torah to a place of physical reality, basically going down. So you've got to think about this very carefully. I'm not going to be nice to you today. For your benefit, of course. So don't start crying, little Z over there. We have a very important figure in this parasha, and that's the ladder. You know, angels going up, angels going down. But there's a ladder, a heavenly escalator. The symbolism of this ladder, it's called gesher. In Hebrew, sulam, it's also gesher. Sulam is to combine, to unite the olam gashmi in which we live in and we are at and live in, to the other world, which is shamayim, heavens, which is a spiritual world. It is a place where angels and God dwell, as the Zohar HaKadosh says, שמי שרוצה לירד לבור עמוק, if a person wants to go down to a deep pit in the ground, צריך מקודם לקשר עצמו בחבל חזק שלא ישתקע שם. Before you go down to the pit, you need to make sure to tie yourself with a very strong rope, so you'll be able to bring yourself out. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in the mud of the pit. Now, you might understand now where I am coming from all the time and telling you that you need to stay in yeshiva a lot more than you think before you go out to the world. You are not ready. Regardless of what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself might be pure arrogance. Maybe you watch too many Bruce Lee movies or Chuck Norris movies, but you are not ready. And then what happened? You fall. You're stuck in the mud. And there's going to be a forerunner with a winch to pull you out there. You're more like a putt-putt going through to Alaska in the forest in the mud. You like that one? Now, and it says to us, Vayetzei Yaakov mi Be'er Sheva. And Yaakov came out from Be'er Sheva, shenishba l'Kadosh Baruch Hu b'chol libo. He swore to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with all his heart. And the swear was, that swear that we had is basically the chayut of a person. That's what gave us chayut, because we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu swore to us many swears, that he would not replace us with another nation. You know, sorry, J witnesses, you know, that's too bad for you. Or Muslims to that matter, or Christians to that matter. He swore us that, we're going to inherit the land, and so on and so forth. And based on those promises that God had made us, we're able to pull through the mud of life. However, that is only when you connect yourself with the rope. And it says, when a person goes down to the difficulty of this world, before Yaakov Avinu connected himself, came out from Eretz Israel, he connected himself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the same thing as any person who comes outside of Bet Medrash needs to really connect himself before he goes to your own personal Haran, to this world. And what did he do? Vayikach me'avnei hamakom, and he took from the stones of the place, vayasem merashotav, and he used them as a pillow. And then it says, vayishkav b'makom ha'u, and he slept at that place. Ishkav. So the Medrash tells us that there were 12 stones that he took from the stones of the altar that his father was brought as a korban on. And it's a remez that from him the 12 tribes will come. V'na'asu kulan even achat. and they all became one stone. Because the pasuk tells us, "Vayikach et ha'even asher sam," and he took the stone that he put, and he says before he took from avnei hamakom, and then he became one. It's a remez that they're going to be one nation, one day. One day. We're going to stop with all those unnecessary and useless and stupid divisions. One way we're going to be able to look at another Jew and say, he's a Jew. We're not going to say, he's Chiloni, he's Haredi, he's Bukhari, he's Persian, he's Polak, he's Hungarian, he's whatever. He is a Jew. And by the way, that's something that you should start practicing yourself. So when you use the term, well, you're not making a declaration of the independence here all over again. What you are saying, you're basically declaring destruction of the Jewish people. Because you are separating yourself and quote unquote your people from the rest of the Jewish nation. So therefore, when the rest of the Jewish nation, for whatever reason, does not accept you, you should know it's because you separate yourself from them, not them from you. In other words, it's your perspective that caused that division. So you should not say, well, we Persians, well, we Bukharis, we do this. We don't care what the other person does. We Hasidim, we do that. No, we don't care why you do that. You need to bring it to the table and share it with everybody. You're part of the people. Mm-hmm. Unless we were disconnected. I mean, does the left hand doesn't see itself belonging to the same body that makes it the body, the right hand? No, it's all one unit. And that's a division that we need to stop doing. And it says, because how do we know there's going to be Goy Echad? Shene'emar umi ke'amcha ke'Israel Goy Echad ba'aretz. Who is like your nation in Israel? One nation under God. No parties. No Republican Party, no Democratic Party, no dirty old man Bernie, no one. Jews, that's what we are. We have the Torah, and we have Hashem, and that's the party we belong to. We are the party of Hashem. Now, when we know also that Yaakov Avinu just didn't do it like that, he basically put the Shema Meforash, he put the name of God underneath his head. And we'll see it what it is. He uses a lot of symbolism by the word Evan, stone. Evan, the initials of Av, father, Ben, son, Neched, grandson, Evan. Av, Ben, Neched. Which are Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. The beginning of the journey of Yaakov Avinu, it's a new path, it's a new way that came to really close the circle that his fathers had initiated. Avraham, which his way was the way of emunah, way of faith, it's called Har. Har mishum hirhur, thinking. Avraham Avinu started to think about God. Yitzchak, that his way is derech hatfilah. We call it Sadeh. Went to the field. We know he went to Daven. He went to speak to God in the field. Yaakov, Midat HaEmet, which is the center, he needs to bring to build about the house. And what you do in the house? You sleep in the house. Vayishkav. Yishkav, in other words, Yesh Chavbet Otiyot HaKodesh Shebahen Nichteva. Yishkav represents the 22 letters of the holy language that the Torah was written in it. In other words, his children will receive the Torah. These are the possessions of Yaakov Avinu, his power, his medicine bag that he's taken with him to Haran. And then what happens all of a sudden? Vayachlom, and then he starts dreaming. Without getting exactly what the Vayachlom is, but he was dreaming. And what happens? V'hineh sulam mutzav arza. There is a ladder that touches the ground. Ve'rosho, and the top of the ladder, magia shamayma, reaches the heavens. V'hineh, and behold, malachei Elokim olim ve'yordim bo. Angels, divine angels, go up and down in it. Pay attention. Olim ve'yordim. I mean, wait a minute. Angels, besides Jimi Hendrix angels are where? In the heavens. It should say, Yordim ve'olim. Why olim ve'yordim? So, let's talk a little bit about the ladder. That ladder is a hint for the reality. And in reality, we have different steps, stairways to heaven. Which one? One on top of the other. One on top of the other. The way we usually write the word sulam is samech vav lamed mem, the numerical value which is
136.
136. 136. And so in Tfilah of Yamim Noraim, some of the Ashkenazim, say Sfaradim, don't really say it. Now they said all of a sudden. Some of them, they say, Uteshuva, Utefila, Utzedaka. You see, the Sfaradi cannot have written that. Ma'avirim et ro'a gzera. Tfilah, Tshuva, Tfilah, Utzedaka, would remove a bad decree that is put upon us. Now, we know that Tshuva means tzom. Tzom is to fast. Tzom mishum letzamtzem, to restrict. Tfilah is kol, voice. You play with your voice. Tzedakah is dinero, mammon. What does that have to do with the ladder? Very simple. The numerical value of each one of them is 136. Tzom, mammon, and kol, 136. According to the Mefarshim, ladder, going up the ladder, that is, foots are in the ground and the head is in the heavens, is done b'shum tshuva. Because we say, אין לך טיפה שיורדת מלמעלה, שאין לה שתי טיפות שעולות עליה מלמעלה. So we know that it's done through tshuva, and the tshuva is the hope that we all have to build a better world. We understand that we do certain things that are bad, and we want to do them, and so therefore we give an account for that. That's tshuva. According to Chassidut, the sulam, the ladder, and its steps on the ladder, symbolizes the steps of elevation of a person in the spiritual elevation. Aliyat ha'adam b'ma'alot ruchaniyot. The way you go up. It would not come from above. The tshuva would never be generated from above. You need to generate the tshuva from where you are towards up. Once you do that, you're going to get it. But you need to have a tremendous desire to go up. But it has to start from here. And it says, V'hineh malachei Elohim olim ve'yordim bo. In other words, in order to say, that the whole entire universe, everything, including the angels, which are spiritual beings, go up in it and they go down in it. In other words, everything is dependent on you. The whole universe depends on the reality in which you're going to create by the decisions that you're going to make. They go up together with him when he elevates himself, and they go down with you when you bring yourself down. So when you sin, you're pulling everything with you down. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Because we don't see that. We say, like they say in Israel, chayev v'ten lichyot. Live and let live. It's fine. Live and let live if we are dealing with life. But why is it you want to commit yourself spiritual suicide? Why are you pulling yourself with me? I'm trying to live and let live. You're right. 100%. By doing the right thing, giving each other livelihood. But when you mess up, you're bringing me down against my will. So you are telling me live and let live, but you are trying to cause me die and let die. And that's not fair. So next time you meet some Israelis and they tell you that, you'll explain this to them. They're not going to like it. But. Now, he was dreaming. Yaakov was dreaming. Now, Chalom is a dream in Hebrew. If you change the letters of, you see this especially for Mr. Eitan Mango Tree. They came here today. He likes that stuff. It's a code name, Mango Tree. Chalom, if you take the letters, Yonatan, are you up? Chalom otiyot lochem, a fighter. You need to understand you got to fight for your right to party, but also you got to fight because the tsunami outside, by the way, it's not a bad song. You don't know them?
Kiss?
Beastie Boys.
Just this morning.
They were Yeshiva Bachur. You did? This song is like from the time of the flood. You know they were Yeshiva Bachurim. You didn't know that? You didn't know the Beastie Boys were? They went to Yeshiva. If I'm not mistaken, they went to MTA.
No way.
Yeah, way.
MTA?
All the way. That's the way they go. Anyway, so Chalom milshon lochem. You need to understand that it's an existential war going out there. You're fighting for your survival. There's also a nice Bob Marley song. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu stands on top of him. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu stands on top. Who? The God of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. The God of the land in which you are laying upon it. Then he says to him, if you're going to fight, I'm going to give it to you. To you, to your children. I promise you, I'll give it to you. After the Chalom, after this dream, Yaakov understands this is not a dream, but he was dreaming. It is a reality. And I'm going to tell you something else. To most of us, our reality is a mere dream. It's not real what we live in. It's just a dream. And then he says, "Vayomer, achen yesh Hashem b'makom hazeh, v'anochi lo yadati." God is in this place. I didn't know that. And in reality is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there is God in any physical, materialistic reality. And the word hamakom comes from lakum, to get up. In other words, Yaakov Avinu understands that he needs to get up and to fulfill his destiny and to do his job that he was supposed to do. And so do we. We all have a job to do. We need to realize that. And Yaakov understands that, right? Yaakov Yereh, right? And he says, why? Because he sees what he needs to do. Vayere vayomar manorah hamakom hazeh. What an awesome place that is. En zeh ki im beit Elokim vezeh shar hashamayim. This is the house of God, and this is the gate for heaven. Maybe that's the gate that he went to a different dimension, but talk about it some other time. Yaakov is what we call Ishtam Yoshev Ohalim. In other words, his opinion, his mindset, his emunah, his hashkafa is complete. And with that blessing from God, he goes thus to this mission, and his mission is to be Shalem b'ma'asav ala haaretz. He needs to be also, in this world, an example of how a person should be. Don't forget, according to Kabbalah, he was the Gilgul of
Adam.
Who? Adam HaRishon. And we'll see exactly the symbolism later. And where he needs to do so, he doesn't do it in Kiugani Hills. He doesn't do it in Bnei Brak. I'm going to tell you where I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you all the way to Haran. which I remember what my father told me. He says, your emunah, your way of life, is nothing if you never go out and practice this way of life in a place that would challenge you. It's very easy to be frum in a yeshiva. It's a totally different story to be frum outside in the world. Huh?
So true. So true.
I reckon it is. Now, in this world, it's very limited. Our world is very limited. And it's full of controversies. And it's full of challenges, ongoing challenges all the time. So Yaakov Avinu comes in and he closes the circuits. He's trying to put heaven and earth together. He's trying to do L'Shem Yichud Kutsha. There will be no difference between heaven and earth. And that can only come when we unify God's name in the land. V'yeh Hashem lemelech al kol haaretz. Only then the circle is complete. The circuit is closed. And for that we need the tikkun on all 10 sferot. The unity of God should be practiced and understood not only here, but also there. For us to know, for us to explain this to people also outside. So that's why when you, for example, try to get shortcuts and somebody asks you, oh, but that's a shortcut. That's okay, you know. For example, let's say even non-secular Jews, even sometimes not Jews at all, will know that you have to wait between milk and meat 6 hours. All of a sudden they see you just took a sandwich, you ate a salami, and after a few hours you're taking yourself a glass of milk. So they will say, well, what happens? This is this. And you're going to tell them, yes, Shita, there's an opinion that holds like this. I read it in a book like that. This one says it's okay. The government is watching. The government is watching. And you look like a fool to them. You understand? God and Chalav Israel. You look like a fool to them. You need to show that you are a Jew inside out. The concept of German outside, a Jew inside, is just the opposite of that. You got to be a Jew outside everywhere. Why are you afraid to be a Jew? Why you're not willing to live up like a Jew outside also? What is that you're doing that you should not be doing that you're embarrassed to be called or look upon as a Jew? You're afraid? Don't be afraid. Go learn karate. Go learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Very effective, Krav Maga, very effective. Don't be afraid. If the problem is to get beaten up, don't worry about it. But it's more scary what we do than to get beaten up by someone. Oh, of course, we say, well, I'm afraid of Chilul Hashem. Terrific. You're afraid or you're concerned of desecrating God's name. It's not a problem, so just don't desecrate it. Live like a Jew should live. Don't cheat, don't lie. Well, it's very simple, isn't it? So from heights of idealism, he goes down to reality of what we have here. Vayetzei Yaakov yotzei la-yetzer. He goes to the Yetzer and to the world of Yetzirah. He goes to this world of desires, of passions and desires and emotions and decisions that are based on that are usually very bad decisions. And where does he go? Of course, he goes to Rachel, the beloved one, to Leah, the hated one, to Lavan, their father, and Yaakov that needs to bring heaven down and elevate earth up. In other words, he needs to take those divine superior ideas and mix it up with the Yetzer, with desires that we have here. All of a sudden, he meets the person that's called Lavan, the white guy, which is a lie. Why? Because Lavan was known to be like a voodoo doer, a person of kind of magic, kind of manipulation. By the way, that's why manipulation is very bad. Don't be a manipulator. It's trash. and he would consult with all these things, and what he would do, he would take those like great and grandiose and beautiful ideas, and he would sell it to you, but really it's not. It's some dark idea that he kind of bleached and made it holy. We have it today all the time. In the sake of equality and beautiful freedom to all, we made everything permissible with no boundaries whatsoever, to a complete destruction of society. I don't care what flag you're waving, the rainbow flag. Use it as a doormat. Because I'll tell you what, it's all a hypocrisy. Again, all these people, gay rights, said rights, this one rights, all besides when it comes to Jew rights. Because it's all bets are off when it comes to the Jews. So I know it's all a lie. So, of course, a person that wants to wear white always shows purity. Why? Because you can always see a speck of dirt in it. If you're wearing black, you don't see anything. White, you see it. So that's why he calls himself, he wants to present himself as a holy man. Like all those Maharajas in India, they're holy men. They're making holes, you're right, in other people's pocket. But I ain't no holy man. Well, the people are starving, they're driving Rolls Royce. A holy man. You know what? So, but he's really a Lavan. If you take the word Lavan and you turn it around, it's also Naval. Naval is a wicked man. Wicked, but not in the English term wicked, British word, like bad. I would say other words, but. And it says, because, and again, he really tries to say, this is my daughter, mi casa, tu casa. And you have no casa, so everything is mine. These are your wife, but they're my daughters. These are your children, but they're my children. You know, kind of a guy. And Yaakov is accepting, is dealing that, and so on and so forth. But then he is able to take the bad and turn it into good. Takes the bad and turns it into good. He takes the sheker and he turns it into emet. He takes the crooked and he straightens it up. And that's what Parashat Vayetzei tells us. Cholem chalom, he has a dream, and the angels go up and go down. Again, so let's go back to that. So Chazal asks us, why dafka they go up and then they go down? Why not down and up as we said before? I mean, by the way, that's one of the famous dreams in history, together with Paro's dream. So for that, Rav Shimshon Raphael here says, because he says, Ki goral ha'adam einenu nikba ba'aretz. The destiny, the fate of man is not determined here, in the world of senses. He sees the messengers of Hashem, and he sees them going up, and then they go down. Why they go up? They look at the ideal picture of men. They have like a rubric of what this man should be. So they look at the rubric of men, and then how it should be, and then they go down and they compare what you should be to what you are. They go up and they go down. If they see that it's good, it's good. If they see it is bad, that's pretty bad. And if they see that it's bad, it says, Ba'u lesakina. They come with a little knife and they poke you. And they go down. Why they poke him? Right? If a person is sleeping, what do? You poke him up.
To wake up.
Wake up, just like Kevin Costner did in Dances with Wolves. The guy Timmons is sleeping, takes an arrow, wakes him up, doesn't wake up. Timmons doesn't wake up, takes an arrow, boom. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you guys all did Chazar on Dances with Wolves, right? So they see him sleeping. They see him sleeping in the place that he's supposed to be awake. And they're trying to, again, wake him up to that. They're trying to wake him up. And that's the little pinches that we get all the times in our life. A little smack here, a little smack there, and so on and so forth. Each one, according to Rav Hirsch, has a picture in which he does not understand. An ideal picture of yourself, what you should be. An ideal situation that would, in potential, is not really discovered, but you are the one who need to discover the potential of such an image of what you should be. So the Malachim go up and they see it upstairs and they look for this person. They see him sleeping. They don't understand, why aren't you doing anything with yourself? Why is it still the same buffoon and you were when you were 15 years old? You're 30, 25, 35, 45, 55-year-old, and you're still acting like a kid. Why aren't you moving forward? You're still asking the same stupid questions. But the problem is that when you ask the questions, you never were willing to hear the answer. You just asked the question because you wanted to hear the question, not the answer. And they don't understand. They don't understand what's going on with the guy. Then they poke you. Don't wake up, they poke you even more. And it's almost time to go, right? So let me skip. So how do we deal with that? We need to sit down and do a inventory of our actions, to acknowledge what was good and what was bad, truthfully. And then we take the bad and we need to turn it into the good. But how don't we lose track? What is the beacon that leads us and not to get sidetracked from all the forces that life throws itself at us? As simple as that. Shiviti Hashem leneged einai tamid. I'll contemplate on God in front of my eyes all the time. I measure my actions according to the standards that God had put in place for me. By doing so, shiviti, not only to completely, ela lishtavot, then everything becomes equal. Everything becomes good. All my actions are measured, shivyon, they're balanced. I don't go from one extreme to another. I don't go to, rave parties on Thailand beach, and then next week I'm going to Uman crying over Nachman's grave. I'm balanced. Which, by the way, is a much more difficult thing to do. To go from one extreme to another, that's very easy. To be balanced, it's the most difficult thing to do. But it's the easiest thing to do as well, because you don't get seasick from the motions, the up and downs of your life. So there is a beautiful perush on the pasuk Mikol Etz Hagan Achol Tochal, where we're talking about Parashat Bereshit. From all the trees of the garden you eat, ume'etz hadat tov v'ra, and from the tree of knowledge, good or bad, lo tochal mimenu. So the perush is you can eat from all the fruits of the garden. Because it says, Michol, from all, Etz Hagan, Achol Tochal, B'chavod. But then there is a comma, Ume'etz Hadat Tov V'ra Lo Tochal. But you just told me before I can eat from everything. In other words, we need to understand that you cannot eat from Etz Hadat by yourself. In other words, the Yetzer Hara has good and bad in it. And there's no other way to do so. And when there is good and bad mixed together, you have to eat it. No, en ma lasot. But if we separate it, we know we separate the good and the bad. You need to understand, when you separate from the bad, you need to separate from the bad completely. And that's one of the concepts of tshuva that we have. And if you don't understand, you can look at Ta'amei Mitzvot to the Radbaz. He talks about that. However, the sulam, the ladder that we have in this week's parasha, as I told you before, is not written the regular way, Samech Vav Lamed Mem, 136, but rather it's spelled Samech Lamed Mem, which is 130. 130 really connects it with Sinai. The gematria of Sinai is also 130. Sinai, in other words, the Torah. The Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Midrash tells us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed Yaakov Avinu the Ma'amad of Har Sinai, receiving the Torah on the Sinai, in which by receiving the Torah, we are able to connect heaven and earth. When you learn Torah, you're able to put everything together with a complete harmony. But when you don't, it's a disharmony, and then you destroy. Not destroy, destroy. And that's what we say is Mutzav Arza Verosho Magia Shamaima. He's touching the heavens and he's touching the earth. And again, how do you connect it with the Sulam without the Vav? Which is the 130, which is Sinai, which is Har Torah. The Torah can only create harmony. There would not be harmony in this world unless we all going to abide to the laws of the Torah, which is the written word of God. This world is not a world. We were put here as bees to do work, to do our job. And we need to do this job. And how do we do the job? We find each and everyone's purpose in order to fulfill the mission. We should also know that what the Baal HaTurim says, that Sulam in Gematria is Ze Kiseh HaKavod. That is the throne of glory of God. The Sulam is also equal to the years in which Adam HaRishon was disconnecting himself from the path of God and pulled himself from Chava, from his wife, because he separated from her for 130 years, and he was doing things that he shouldn't nor us should be doing, if you know what I mean. In other words, Rabotai, the bottom line is, only through Torah we would be able to continue the tikkun, the fix-up, that Yaakov Avinu came, which was the Gilgul of Avraham, of Adam HaRishon. Only through the Torah we could continue and finish the job that needs to be done in this world to connect heaven and earth and to create this world into a place appropriate for God to dwell. That's why when we sinned, Beit HaMikdash, the house of God, was taken. Because God said, if this is what you do here, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Rabotai. There's no time. Time is not stopping for anyone. And since time is not stopping for anyone, you might as well do things while you have the power. It will be like when you are young, you would like to run a marathon, but it will be quite difficult if you're a wheelchair and your batteries of your electronic wheelchair is not working or is dwindling down. Rabotai, we have to act with utmost yirat shamayim, and we need to understand we cannot cut the umbilical cord that we have before it was ready, because we haven't been born yet. Yemot HaMashiach is the true birth of man to this world. Right now, if you do so, the baby would die. We must connect ourselves to the Torah. We must shape up in our midot, in our emunah, in yirat shamayim, in loving one another to finish the tikkun. Rabotai, you don't know when the end is come, but it's going to come. So let's roll our sleeves and let's do what we need to do. Shabbat Shalom.